Alright fellas, welcome back to the channel. We're back on the clock, and I'd like to thank everybody for watching and all the new subscribers. Really appreciate it. So today we're going to be redoing some electrical that got cut out during a demo. So this area right here, this square footage right here, used to have walls of an old lab or whatever the case was, and they had hired a group of guys to come in and start cutting everything out. So the idea was to leave the two circuits along the back wall that is not getting removed. It was two quad box outlets. To leave those in place. Those didn't need to get touched. You just cut around it. And there was one existing circuit up here that didn't need to get touched. It wasn't attached to the wall. It was in the middle of nowhere. It didn't need to get cut. But here's the thing. You get a group of guys that are working a midnight shift. You give them a Sawzall, a mission, fill them full of illicit substances, and you're gonna have some sparks fly. That's for sure. So they cut through an existing circuit that had nothing to do with nothing, but it was poking out a little bit. So, you know, one of them got the bright idea that it needed to go, and next thing you know, they had some arc flash and circuits trip. But the silver lining is that it is the sign of a healthy circuit, indicates that it did trip, and it tripped immediately. Same things with this one, same thing with these ones. So these guys had a Sawzall, a mission, and fire in their heart, and they came in and they got to it, boys. They got to it, and things started popping, that's for sure. So these healthy circuits tripped on demand, and that is a beautiful thing. So here we are today. We're gonna go ahead and replace the box that they had cut out. It was just a regular junction box that was feeding a piece of equipment that really had nothing to do with this office. It was just passing through the roof line of the office, and they had hacked through this piece of conduit, and you can see it's all burnt on the inside of this GMT. So we ran over to the local Walgreens and we picked up some couplers, we got some offsets, we got some straps, and we got two more box connectors, and we're gonna make some easy work of rewiring this circuit back in. Now, as far as these 120 volt outlet boxes, reset boxes, these quads, these are pretty much history. If they want them back, I'd have to figure out where they came from. But the idea was, on the initial power down, 1, 2 outlets stay, junction feeding equipment stays, don't touch, leave alone. So anyways, let's get started. So I already had got a jump on you guys, and I went ahead and cut this 3/4 EMT back. So both of these 2 3/4 inch EMTs used to come out about here and go into a box. The box was elevated and taken off. All they really had to do was take off this wall. It was irrelevant, but besides the point, you can see the arc flash right here. You can see this burnt wires that actually got cut through with the Sawzall. So this breaker is actually off right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and, since I'm just getting here, I'm gonna go ahead and cut these wires, cap them off for the moment, and then we'll continue with cutting this back, getting our box mounted, fastened to the wall, and we'll be on our way. So let me go ahead and get that done right now. So I'm back, and these are the two hot wires. It looks like a 277 volt circuit. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut that back. I'm gonna cut that back, and I'm gonna cut back the neutral, and then we'll go ahead and discard this wire, and then I will get these guys capped off. These are the guys that do the heavy lifting right here, so I'll cap him off for sure, even though the breaker is off or in the trip position. I'd have to go find which breaker that is. So I already checked for power and made sure that everything was dead, but I will have to go find the breaker. So for the moment, we're just getting here. Let me cap these off and make this area safe to be around. I'm sure it was an exciting night for whoever cut this circuit, and hopefully it will be a learning lesson to make sure that you don't just start cutting into conduits. I guess their mission was just to take down the walls. This wasn't on any of the walls, but anyways, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut this back. I'd already cut this one back, so I just came in with my little pipe cutter and I just cut and then take that off. So now I'm gonna go ahead and have to deburr inner section of this 3/4 inch EMT, and I'll go ahead and cut this one in the same location. So let me go ahead and see where that is gonna be mocked up, and that will be strapped to right about there. So that's where the strap was, right there. So we'll go ahead and put that strap back in there. I don't know where that screw went, or I'll just create a new strap and we'll figure that out. Yeah, we'll have to figure that situation out. I might even go with the smaller box, so I'll have to go run back down to Walgreens and get another box and get this all tied in. But for the most part, bam, that's where it's gonna be. So I'm gonna be cutting right about there. I'm gonna put 2 offsets since I'm not gonna bend this. I'm not gonna bend an offset into this, so I'll add a pre-made offset and get that all dialed in, get the box mounted to the wall, wire nut these wires together, and bada bing bada boom, we're out of here, boys. So let's get to it. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and even out these 2 EMTs, and I'm gonna have them both level and ready for my box. So let me go ahead and get this one cut to this same size. I feel it cutting through. Any second now we should be through. And there we are, fellas. There we are. Make sure that wire didn't get damaged. Nope, clean as a whistle, baby. Clean as a whistle. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and get this all mounted up and kind of mocked up and fitted together. And I'll just put that old strap back. I'll just put a new strap. Anyway, so this one's gonna be right there. So let me go head over to Walgreens after I get these inner edges reamed out, and I'll get a box, mount a box, 2 offsets, and we're good to go, fellas, good to go. I will be right back. All right, fellas, we're back, and I just got done reaming the inside of these 3/4 inch EMTs, and they feel smooth, boys. They feel good, so I'm gonna run with that. So we actually ran over to Walgreens to pick up a 5-inch box, but Walgreens was all out, so I had to head to CVS Pharmacy. So CVS happened to have some in stock. So anyways, I got me a cover plate, 5-inch box, has the 3/4 inch knockouts, and I have 2 box connecting offsets. So we're gonna go ahead and run with that. I'm gonna mount a new pigtail up in there, and I'm gonna use a green grounding condom. So there we go, boys. All I gotta do now is basically get this all fitted up, and let's see what that looks like. All right, fellas, so we're back. I happened to get called away, so I don't really remember where we left off, but it is what it is. We're gonna continue with this little project. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my box placement in place, and we're gonna go ahead and see what that looks like. So I'm gonna get my first offset set into place. Oh yeah! All right, get that in there. Then I'm gonna get my box mocked up, get everything mocked up, and kind of see what things are gonna look like in real life. Let's get this guy all jammed up in there. There we go, there we go. And then we will get some marks on the wall, and then we will use our new box that we got from CVS and mount that bad boy up there. So yes, we're gonna try to make this bad boy look as beautiful as possible. So this offset is gonna have to get pushed back. There we go, there we go. So that will mount against the wall. So that puts our box right about there. So I originally wanted to mount the box right next to this box, but it just didn't allow it because the 90-degree bend came in sooner than I can cut back on this box. That would have looked much better, but hey, the conditions are what the conditions are. So we are in the conditions right now. So let's go ahead and get that guy offset just a little bit further, and we'll see where that puts us. So that puts him, and let me grab this bad boy, put him right there. So that makes him good right there. So that gives my 3/4 inch EMT, he's looking beautiful right there. So roughly-ish, there we go. And now we gotta see what my box is gonna look like, because, you know, you always got a little bit of wiggle room in these things. So that puts my 3/4 inch right there, and my box is looking pretty beautiful right there. So let me get some black marks in those holes there, and then we'll come back and start making holes in the wall. So I'm gonna use him, there we go, him, and I will use him. Beautiful. So I'll use those 2 dudes for right now. Then we'll move to the next step of the project, which grab my boy from Team Milwaukee and just start putting holes in this wall. Matter of fact, let me go grab my vacuum, and I'm gonna go ahead and cap these bad boys back off, just in case, fellas, just in case. You never know, you just never know. So I try to work with these capped off as much as possible. The power is coming in from this way, but I don't know exactly what breaker it's off of yet. We'll figure all that out after this is all mounted up and tied in. All right, so we got that hole dug. Let me see how far that bad boy goes in there. Not too bad. So now let's get this guy in place. Let's get him mocked up right there. Do some pilot. Alright boys, so that was the M12 Milwaukee Fuel rotary hammer, and he works fine for about 1/4 inch to 3/8, but anything over that, boys, I don't recommend it. You're playing at your own risk, fellas. Alright boys, so here's our new box that we got from old CVS Pharmacy, and we're gonna go ahead and mount this bad boy right up in there. There she be, there she be. So I'm gonna go ahead and lock in that other one, get this boy up in there. All right, fellas, so I got these two. They're loosely applied, so I'm gonna go ahead and get my offset. I'm gonna knock out this knockout, and I'm gonna get my offset placed in there, get this one locked in, get that boy strapped down, and then we'll focus on this girl right here. Pull that knockout out the hole. I'm gonna go ahead and get this guy popped out, grab him with my Knipex. Here we go, there we go. Throw him down, back pocket these boys, 'cause I'm gonna need them again for sure. Get that box nice and, you know, a little level, I guess. I don't know. So it's pretty much level. We'll do the final touches before I tighten these bolts. But for right now, let me get my offset in there and we'll see where we're at. So I'm gonna pop these wire nuts right back off and we'll save them bad boys right there. Right there, fellas, right there. So I think this is for some lighting, for some equipment. I'm not really sure what the circuit is, but circuit go boom. Circuit go boom last night, and you know, it scared the sheep, so they want to get it all taken care of. There we go, fellas. All right, so let me get these bad boys capped off again. Anybody who's anybody gets a condom. There we go, and we got our neutral. All right, just in case, fellas, just in case. And we'll leave our ground wire open because ground wire is the one that saved the night last night, boys. The ground wire is the one that saved the night. So I'm gonna get my lock nut, my lock ring on there, fellas. All right, fellas, so there she be. That's pretty much the idea. So we got straight down, offset, into the box. This will be strapped to the wall. Box is mounted, and this guy basically is gonna pull into this knockout right here. So let me go ahead and grab my level, and we'll make some final arrangements here and see where we end up. All right, gentlemen, we will level out our box like so. Right there we is, there we is. So with that being said, I will hit this with some N12 action. There she be. Let me just knock him up a little. You motherfucker. All right, fellas, so I originally had my Klein level, which has some really strong magnets on it, but somebody felt like they needed it more than me, so the thing grew legs and walked off. So I have this other level, which is the magnet on it is a little bit light, but it's a lot stronger than the one that you guys just seen, because that thing just fell off on me like nothing. So you need the stronger level in these cases, because I mean, you need that thing to hang on for dear life when you're hitting it with impact wrenches. All right, so here we go, boys. There we go. That's levels. There she be, boys. And just for the giggles of it, we'll go ahead and check our EMT right here. And boys, she's well within the bubble. She's in the dead center of that bubble. So we're looking not too bad. So things are looking good. Things are looking up. We will get this girl all fastened in. So the next step of the process is I'm gonna go ahead and get my strap on there. Get my strap on there somewhere. And I suppose I'll keep my strap aligned with this strap on the wall, just so everything looks somewhat consistent, I suppose. So we'll go ahead and take that, and we will put a little marky mark right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and slap a little marky mark right there on that bad boy, just in case. But I think I will hammer drill that in place, and she's gonna look just fine. So we'll just do these two straps right about there. We're securing and supporting within 3 feet of an outlet or junction box, so we're well within the frameworks of the NEC, boys. All right, let me line them up. 1, 2, 3. All right, boys, we're ready to lock this strap down. I got my my anchor, so I'm gonna go ahead and position this bad boy right into place. I think he's gonna come off at me, but our hole is in the desired location, so let's go with it. I don't want to go too tight. I don't want to go too loose. That's looking good right there. Oh, there she is, boys. there she is. Fellas, that is that. So we're looking good. We're looking pretty level on the box. We're looking level on this guy. So now we gotta deal with this girl right here and see what she's gonna look like. All right, so I got my second offset, boys, and we're gonna go ahead and lace them up. Go ahead and lace her through and pop her in, and we'll see where we can make her end up. Where does she look the best? I know she's a beautiful girl, but where does she look the best? Does she look the best right there? No, she does not look the best right there. Because if I was to land her right there in that second hole, side by side, our level is gonna be off. Boys, I got a feeling our level is gonna be off no matter what, because we're not redoing this from scratch. We're just kind of compensating on something that was already here. So, but she won't look too bad. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and see what she looks like in this third hole. All right, fellas, I was wondering why I was having so much trouble with this girl. I want to land her in that third hole, and I noticed that her coupling was out right over there, so it wasn't true. So let me go get that coupling locked in, and then we'll see where we can end up right here. All right, so let me lock in this coupling that happened to be super loose for whatever reason. Let me lock this girl in, and then we'll head back over to ground zero. All right, fellas, so I locked in the coupling, and we are back at the box, and let's see if she's gonna look any better level wise. Let's see if we can do the impossible here. Yeah, so I think right there, fellas, that is gonna get me the best results. So she's gonna head into the third hole, which is gonna get me the best results without bending this conduit. So I think I have another idea, and we're gonna go ahead and move with the other idea, just so I could get this thing fairly level. Since it is on Front Street and everybody's gonna be looking right at them, we're gonna go ahead and do a little trim work, and I'm gonna cut that coupling down about 1/4 of an inch, and that should move this guy in 1/4 of an inch, and that should put us right where we need to be in order to have this girl level. All right, boys, we're back. So before I move any further, I believe she's gonna be good. Let me go ahead and dig some of the paint off of this edge so that my coupling or my box connector will make perfect connection. All right, boys, there she is, nice and bare, so that my box connector makes a good connection for that grounding and bonding, baby. So we're gonna go ahead and try to set her in, and hopefully she's ready to comply and act right. All right, fellas, she's gonna look her best right there. That's where she's gonna look her best, out of this other hole. So let's go ahead and pop this girl out, and we'll see what she look like. Okay, fellas, so she's looking good right about there. So she's gonna be riding in there with just 2 offsets. So let me get this offset pinned down with the old lock nut, and we'll see what we can see. All right, boys, so there she is. She's all lock nutted in. And I'll get some pliers on that right now. She's lock nutted in. I'll get these adjusted. So I'm gonna have to pull this conduit out, and I'm gonna clean that base up a little bit. I'll see what it looks like, but I think it had a little bit of bare metal. As long as it has some bare metal, should be all right. So let me pin this bad boy in, and then all we gotta do is get a strap on her, and she is looking tip top. All right, so here is my other strap. I'm just eyeballing it, and she's gonna go right there. Go ahead and hit it with this M12 real quick. Battery died, boys. Let's go get another battery, take a break, and we will be back. All right, fellas, we are back, and we got a fully charged battery. So let's go ahead and continue with this hole. There it is, boys, there it is. So we got the hole, we got the strap within 3 feet on EMT, and we have our anchor. So let's get our anchor in there. There it is, boys, nice and tight. All right, so I'll be coming back over with the vacuum after we kind of get this thing laced up. So let's go ahead and make sure that everything is intact and looking good. Both of these are level, box is level, but I have a feeling I'm gonna have to take this box off, because I got to make sure that this conduit is a grounded system, and I need to make sure that I don't remember if I peeled the paint off of that bad boy or not, and I know that I got to have that bad boy grounded, boys. It's very important. So here we go, boys. Let's just make sure that we clean the paint off of this guy. All right, fellas, she is looking tip top. Oh, there we go. Nice and in place. Go get her back screwed to the wall before I screw it down and before I lock it down. Grab that level, boys. Grab that level, boys. We ain't playing with this girl. There she is, fellas. Lock her down. Lock her down before she changes her mind. That's what you gotta do, fellas. Lock her down before she changes her mind. All right, let's get this big boy into place. This big boy into place. Up front, standing salute. Get these two boys plugged in. There you go, son. There you go, son. Make sure my lock rings are tight. Lock rings are tight. Yep. All right, fellas. Here's what we're gonna do. Since we don't know what number circuit this is, we gotta go on the hunt, fellas. So let's go hunt this circuit down, and we will follow this conduit back, find a panel, it should be a trip breaker, and then we'll lock them back on. We'll go ahead and verify. So just an educated guess here, we're gonna either be looking for 2 trip singles, 480 volt, or this will be 277 individually, but whatever. So let's figure this out. All right, fellas, so we got everything locked in, got these all tied in. I cut my wires back, left 6 inches outside of the box, got plenty of extra. I'm gonna tie in my pigtail right now so I can ground my box, and let me tie in my ground wires real quick. All right, boys, so I tied in all my my junction is grounded, pigtail to the casing. All this is fastened in. I have my conduit paint cleaned here and over in the junction where I trimmed the EMT. So all that would be left to do is to put the cover plate back on. But for the moment, I'm gonna go find this breaker, and we're gonna label this cover plate as soon as I figure out which breaker powers this circuit. So let's go do that. All right, boys, so I had it on good authority that the circuit that was shut off was from panel HC 480 volt 277, and the circuit was 37 and 39. So we're going ahead and clock those on. So we'll go ahead and check it, and as soon as I turn them on, we had some lighting come on, pretty locked in and solid that's what it was. And I also followed the conduit back to this panel right here. So we'll go ahead and see if our circuit is powered up, and we'll go from there, boys. All right, fellas, so it looks like we got the juice. We're in a good position here. So the next step is that I'm gonna do is probably get this thing labeled, and then after that I'm gonna try to get rid of this heartburn I got. Let's get this panel cover on here, but first I'm gonna label it. Clean that bad boy off. Panel HC 37 and 39. There it is, fellas. Should make it easy for the next peasant, whoever comes out here to do this in the future, if they ever have to. All right, boys, she looking good. Nice and level. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this film short here, but I'm gonna come back with some Gojo wipes, and I'm gonna try to clean up this conduit right here, and I'm gonna come vacuum up this little bit of mess that I made, get all my little shavings collected, and I may peel this tape off of these conduit fittings just because I'd like it to look as bare as possible. So I'll work on getting these off, getting this cleaned, and getting this vacuumed up. But I'd like to thank everybody for watching, fellas. That sums it up for this one, boys. So to everybody out there, grounding and bonding, very important. Grounding and bonding is what saved the night last night for these people and kept everybody safe. Grounding and bonding shut the circuit down before there was a major fire. Grounding and bonding saved the equipment. Grounding and bonding saved the panel. So grounding and bonding, yes, fellas, very important. Probably the most important part of a circuit, because under any unforeseen condition, grounding and bonding is going to take it to where it needs to go, and that is under a ground fault situation, and it will shut down the circuit for you. You don't have to worry about anything else. So that was a silver lining here last night, folks. I really appreciate everybody for watching, and if you have not yet subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, get that out the way, and you might as well hit the like, because they're right next to each other, boys. I will see you on the next one. Stay safe out there.